Good morning, everyone. Well, it looks like others are anticipating what's to the left here after several days down, and it's already bouncing off. Pretty good bounce off of the low. Um, so it's coming into, you can see the cursor on the daily chart there, coming down into that area of minor support, that unfilled gap. And we'll see what happens here. I was hoping it would stay down there or go lower. After the open. To see what it does here at this little resistance. You see what appears to be at the moment developing as a downside shakeout. Things were going down. The job report came out, and there was the spike lower, of course, on disappointment of more jobs, and that kind of diminishes or maybe eliminates the anticipation of the Fed standing pat, or was it March they were going to cut, and so on. So the data doesn't support that, but we'll see what develops. Anyway, technically, we saw the break of support. The S&Ps, the spiders, the 20 MA, a little bit of rejection yesterday, and actually slowing momentum, a small candle body. And so now that it's popping back up, there's a discussion we had in the green room for those in, on social media channels there, about the topping tail versus a slowing momentum candle and prices being down several days in a row. And so we got this news report driving the markets here early on. But the idea was, look, here with this kind of a pattern, momentum slowing, it could be lower and then turn around. But yesterday we talked about yesterday actually becoming a turnaround day, or the beginnings of a turnaround day. So based on this price action, on this jobs report, and that reversal, it looks like that could be the case where things could actually open up. Well, we'll see in 20 minutes, close to unchanged, give or take a little bit. And so with patterns like this, where again it comes towards support, I mean, ideally it would have continued to fall down here, and you get this pattern, and then the reversal day, and then some type of an advance versus it happening before support. So the reason to say that is the further it gets to a significant support area, this is relatively significant within an uptrend, even though it's violated this support, it can bounce a larger amount, even though the trend has been broken in this time frame. So that's the thinking behind that. Where, as it looks right now, this could open up close to unchanged. Well, treasuries, Alex, are doing what we anticipated they were going to do. At the end of last year, in the last few weeks, we'll just take a peek at that. There's the 10-year coming up there. Let's put this on the daily chart. And that was the thinking right along, that while the markets were advancing as they were, as the 10-year came down to support, buyers would be down there. And then the markets wouldn't like that, because they want what they want, and things not to be any uncertainty. And now there's some uncertainty because, they moved up a little bit, but, basic look to the left. It's at support. It's fallen a whole bunch. It's going to bounce, or it could have chopped around there a bit, but it's bouncing. The markets don't like that. Now, they're up at this minor resistance. They backed off a bit. So, S&Ps bounce a little bit, the inverse relationship, but this is no surprise. How the decline, or I say the correction, was going to unfold, in the broader markets when they got down there, was an unknown. And so if Treasury would have chopped around at that support, maybe this would have went sideways. Whereas, I mean, this really isn't that big of a deal. It's violated the uptrend, but it isn't that big of a deal so far as to the support. We'll see what happens by the end of the day. Now, what treasuries do from here. How high might they go? I mean, that's really, well, first of all, it's an unknown, but with the depth of retracement like this, they could easily pop up above 4.2%, which will push the markets lower. You know, or do they? We don't know what they're going to do. We just know that down here there was going to be buyers. Now you get this cluster of opens and closes right here, so that's why I picked this little spot, and there's that pivot high up there. So we'll see how it unfolds. We just knew that as they came down here, the odds of a correction in equities were going to happen, and internals being where they were, markets going up as much as they have, it was pretty much a given what was going to happen. How it unfolded, when it unfolded, all of that, we don't know. We just know that risk is growing for longs. What will the powers that be want to see? Maybe Joe Biden, say he's not going to run and they can find someone else that, can put two sentences together. I don't know. Hope, what would they like to be? They'd like Trump to be locked up forever. So who knows what's going to happen? We'll get our favorite beverage and popcorn and see how it unfolds as we get closer to it and the year goes. So, all right. So Q's led the way down, down here near the support. Actually got down there. See the cursor on the hourly chart. There's going to be buyers. I mean, how many? I don't know. Look to the left. I mean, right down there. How simple. No fib lines, no trend lines, no whatever. And buyers down there. And it just popped up. Ideally, would have been, okay, it stays down there. Maybe it goes down there and retests. And, we get a nice intraday setup. Hey, if it goes sideways here, it goes sideways. That's the essence of a shakeout. Maybe it comes back down, it chops around, and then it makes a move up. But we say this is essentially reached its destination as to where buyers would show up. As you can see, they have. Now, if that continues in the next half hour or so, we'll see. Care about that, but industrials are holding up better. Transports, pulling back. Here we talked about the slowing momentum. That's what that little artistic drawing is that I did here. Point out the slowing momentum at that time, and now they're pulling back into support. And we'll see if they can make a little flip up there. IWM. Same story, bouncing with everything else. It got close to support. See the cursor on the hourly chart. It stepped down there and coming back up. Semiconductors down there, support, bouncing up. Same thing everywhere. Peeking at the futures as we do. So as we look at the futures 24-hour market, complete candles, no gaps, pulling back into here. So I wouldn't expect anything of great significance today as far as a move up, because historic, and we don't really want that. I mean, not that it couldn't happen, but what we want is to go into next week, probably in this area, maybe this goes back down again, and to get, a second day. And wow, if we were to get a third, because then, looking at the hourly chart as we get into, and we discuss multiple time frames, this is still in a downtrend. And so the ideal situation is for it, to have 2 days hanging down here where the hourly, your intradays begin to form a base, and then maybe this could bounce up to the 20, not back up to the highs. So, the 20, and you can see the cursor on the hourly chart, maybe getting up there where those cluster of pivots are up there. And then we'll see what happens from there. You can see the bounce. As we look at everything's going to be the same. Now it's forming a bottoming tail bar on the S&Ps. Same story. The Dow holding up the best. Bitcoin, kind of a mess, but holding up relatively well after that breakout failure so far. Um, Surprisingly, sometimes this happens and it just drops, especially with this little support area down there. Now SPX, that bounce is going to mess things up from the numbers I had. I would suspect, but hey, that's the way it goes. You got to watch them. So now, look, it was at 30 when I did this. Now it's at 40, about 40, 45. So, you just don't know. But if it makes what I would look for, first of all, it's not going to get back up here, but this number would come down. Actually, it didn't. Actually, that number's still good. 47.30. It's not getting up there today. That should be a no-brainer. But if it dips back down in the first, 20 minutes or whatever, something below 46.50 will be good. We looked at interest rates, oil, right? That's the other thing we were talking about at the end of the year that was coming down to support. It was going to stabilize. That would be another negative for the markets, and these are holding up pretty good. We had this reversal day. The crude oil contract really doesn't show, as well as looking at ETFs, and so it's pushing back up now. It's stabilizing. So this is the shakeout. Move down and then the deep retracement. It's gotten pretty erratic. And we haven't looked at the VIX in a while. Rip back down, bottoming out. So long time chopping sideways. So the expectation with a pattern like that is after we do get, and assuming things stabilize today into the beginning of next week, you get some kind of bounce. This is suggesting, then the market goes lower. Internals still got gas in the tank. Breadth is deteriorated, down toward a bullish area, but sentiment is still way up there. Equity put call ratio still way up there. So whatever bounce we do get, we expect there to be some more downside coming. And we'll see how that plays out into next week. That's about it. I mean, some choppy stabilization day, most likely. We'll see where it ends the day. We'll see what interest rates do. They've come back off a little bit and markets went up. So there's plenty of investors and traders that are nervous and be more than happy to sell whatever rally. So we'll just see how that develops today. Just going back to look. Yeah, so even if it closes like this, what we want to see, and it doesn't matter whether it's today, a year from now, what a stock, as prices break a trend as this did and come down to a level, and you look at the daily chart, the ideal scenario for some kind of counter trend move, or even if it wasn't an uptrend, is to have at least 2 days of stabilization, sometimes 3, to form an intraday base. And as you can see, this is still in a downtrend. So, and then you get your advance. All right. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Happy zero DTE day. Nice recovery pre-market. Yeah, when we started selling off, I agree with Greg. My scenario is that I wanted was continued sell-off until 10 or 10:30 reversal. And then, get a reversal, and then have a total day trade long bias. And, Greg went over it all, what we're looking for. Here, I just posted this SMCI we were watching yesterday. And so if that gets up here over 293, I'm okay with the put spread. Alarms here. Look at MJ. I said yesterday I was going to set an alarm. Look at this bottoming pattern with all flat MAs. All right, yeah, so Greg. All right, good. As long as Robert hears me. So MJ, I know it's burned us so many times, but it's a bottoming pattern. Let's keep an eye on it. What's the pattern now? It's an inverse head and shoulders with a fat head. That's what it is. With a void. So keep an eye on it. Raul, that's about, well, he's saying the composite, but I'll just look at the cues. Yeah, see over yesterday's high is fine. Yeah, Raul, we're going to have hundreds of similar patterns of buy setups and reversals, and we just got to go through them and pick the best ones in terms of the best turn on support, void, came down fluid, relative strength, same old, but there's, many times in the markets, as the way things line up, we have a field day on finding those particular patterns. But just to compare Qs to SMCI, just for example, this one I like more as a put spread because I got like a 4-bar turn on support, on the 50, on the 200, in the gap fill area. So I have much higher confidence that this will hold than I do the Qs that would just be a 1-bar reversal if it triggered. All righty. I posted W whiskey, and I like that it's gapping down a little because the entry is yesterday's high. We'll sell an out of money put spread. What else did I post? SMCI. Oh, an S wave. I posted this. Typically I don't like deep. Today's Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. So typically I don't like deep retracements like that, like on Wednesday. But yesterday repaired it. So now it's totally fine, or else, a tad benefit because it's a small little red bar ignored intraday downside shakeout. And I got a void. It's a closing breakout yesterday. I can't tell where it's gapping. Ideally, it's gapping down. Same reason discussed as whiskey. And then over yesterday's high. All right, Sanjay, I think, was our bullish idea winner yesterday. He gave us Met C. We sold a third in the strength. Beautiful, beautiful multi-week consolidation and an uptrend. We had a 1, 2, 3 in the morning. We had a 1, 2, 3 on the weekly. All-time highs. Multiple time frame alignment. That was a beautiful setup. So we still have 2/3 of a position. He gave us gas. Another 1, 2, 3 there. Looks good. Raul EWTX above yesterday's high. I have better buy setups. And the reason I'm hesitating is because it came in sloppily and violently. So I would prefer some more stabilization, but it is a buy setup. That's a fact. We're just talking about quality. Boeing short, yeah, it's down 3 bars, but sure. 30-minute low day trade. We tried shorting a call spread on that the other day and didn't get filled. I do not like PR shorts, Raul, because there's no price void. It's a breakout failure for sure. If you were long, I would have stopped out. But there's no good void. Let's see what I got over here. Let's see, SQM is also a buy setup, gap and down. Deep retracements, I don't expect a new high, but this, among hundreds of others, are just on my list, waiting for a turn next week. Wow, there's a disaster of the day. Gapping down 25%. That is ugly. Yeah, MPW, Alex, I know you mentioned. Yeah, this one's a nasty gap. I think they had a pre-earnings warning or whatever. I saw it in the news. That's nasty. Pelletier got a downgrade. We were long puts on this, and we trail stopped out yesterday. Although my target, I was really hoping it would accelerate to the 200, but yesterday's tail stopped us out. Had a nice gain. Tesla, some more recalls. No pattern, breakout failure. Nothing to do there. AXGN. I see one print up here, but it's just now see. So the weekly is a buy setup. The daily is a mess, so no interest. All right, see, Raul, compare Crust to Papa Romeo. See, this one came in a little more fluid and controlled. It reversed on minor support in the 20 MA, and now it's a 1, 2, 3. So this is a fantastic example of a comparison to the retracement I was mentioning to you. And this one, I can't tell where it's gapping, but it actually reported earnings. I got an alarm at 75, but if it opens flat, I like that as a buy setup. MP. Oh, really? All right. I'm reading Alex there. All right, Costco. Let's see, that's a buy setup also, but it's a buy setup from an M top. So that's extended 20 from the 50. So that's not a good buy setup. But let's keep an eye on that for a 0 DTE put spread. KHC, another anticipatory buy setup. I'm just watching to see how it turns. Same with T. DLR. This is Sam's List breakdown. Sam's List. I like this one a tad better because you got a bull sandwich. And you got a void, over here somewhere. Maybe it did have a weak little pre-market there. Yeah, I mean we'll time it as always, Alex, see what our bias is with the broader market at the time, but sure. I got Airbnb in the other computer. We have a put spread on that. That's gapping against us. It expires today though, so we're in hope mode. The tie, another buy setup, but sloppy but bullish weekly. Lulu topping pattern, all spread idea. Kind of an M top with a breakout failure. Hey, what's shaking down? Whiskey duplicate. DPZ, we did a call spread yesterday. This We talked about put spread, owl, another buy setup, but it triggered yesterday. But if you want to day trade it, set an alarm at 1490 over that 15-minute red bar. I will do that right now. Kava, a buy setup, but came down hard. So I don't expect a big target. XEL going sideways. That's, nothing to do right now, but it's on the list. S block, bear sandwich breakout yesterday. Eagle, same sector. Airbnb, that's the one going against us a little bit. Wells Fargo, bull flag, it's on our watch list. That's WKS. Another one watching for the turn, but see Raul on YouTube. This thing came in hard. Look at all the gaps. So it's being sold, and there's no support to the left. So and there's no turn. So there's nothing to do with that right now, other than excuse me, other than to watch it and see when it turns. Now, see, this one at least is turning on major support. So let's set an alarm at 84 on M chip. Apple, same, came down hard. Everyone in the world's watching the 200. It's recovering the gap here pre-market, but NXPI, same. They're coming down hard. Look at the volume. So never would I expect an immediate new high. I mean, this thing came down so violently that I think gap fill is the best scenario of a target. Run, nothing to do. We just got to wait and see where it wants to turn. Same. Do you see, Raul? We're talking about these retracements and turns. I'm calm. Let's see if I get 2 inside days, then I might have something. Sample, beautiful. I think this was earnings yesterday. Gap, range expansion. Look at this breakout weekly, monthly. That looks great. Same. It's at least it's a turn on support here. Look at the volume that had FSCO alarm. Sam, I am. This is your short. Look at bottom right, crust I mentioned. All right, see, so I couldn't tell where it was gapping. But it's now messed it up because I wanted it to open flat. All right, let's see. I had an up alarm go off, but now it's stalling real. So I just set new alarms. That made our second target. That made our second target on the gap up. All right, that's why my up alarm went off. Nice. So we just made another third target of Met C. SMCI alarm just went off. All right, I gave it over 293, so this one's a go. Let me check premium. 270, 260, $1.10. Let's wait 5-minute high. I just don't like rushing into things. So 270, 260 is now 95. I wanted $1.10. So we're in the ballpark, but nothing quite yet. So that's a watch. And that's all my alarms. Look at Michael Jackson slammed right back down. So I'll just set a new alarm, 3:35 or 7, whatever. All right, those are all my alarms. All right, our DPZ call spread is down. Hey, we're getting salvaged a little bit here with Airbnb. I sold puts on whiskey yesterday, and it's showing me a big loss, and the sole reason is because the spreads are preposterous. I'm bidding 1 cent to close, so it's 1 cent by 75 cents. What a freaking jerk. That's crazy spreads. All right, so Airbnb. All right, we have the 133. All right, actually, we got a profit now. At 12 cents. All right, awesome. Let's take it just because of the pre-market weakness. Microchip up alarm. Yeah, so I love dodging a bullet when something goes against us. But I'll keep it on the list. We'll see how it closes. IBM. Yeah, I think 10-minute low is good. Sure. Oh, I see. Under 159, you're looking at that little pre-market thing.